Hey everyone, it's Average FPV here, and since I got a couple of requests on how I built my 1S baby wing, I thought I'd make a video. Now, it's not going to be professional, but it will give you sort of what are the important parts, and yeah, I've taken a couple of videos on the way, so here we go. So the Causemar NanoWing comes in foam parts, so it's not a kit that is pre-assembled. So the first thing you need to do is get some Uhu Por and then stick the two big wing halves together. I like to use some needles to keep it in place while it dries. And after that I cut a straight line to put in a 0.5 by 3 millimeter carbon rod. Again, you take some glue and you just gently push it in, making sure that you don't bend the wing in any way, so it remains flat. And the NanoWing comes with good instructions on where to put the components. We start with the elevons, so we measure everything out and make some lines, cut them out. One thing you need to do is cut the angles in a way that the control surfaces are free to move, just like this. So next up, what I did is I took a 2 millimeter carbon rod just to stiffen up the control surfaces, and then you draw in where you want the rest to have. You have to play a little bit with center of gravity, but once you feel like the stuff is where it needs to be, the way you cut this out is you take a sharp knife and you cut out small cubes, which you then can take out with scissors or side cutters. For the servos, be a bit careful that you don't cut too deep, so I like to sort of get a sense of how thick the servo is and then do the same thing with just cutting small cubes and cutting them out. You then put in the servos, don't glue them yet, just to see if everything is flush. At that point you trim the wires, solder everything together to do a test. So here you see the test, you see the servo horns moving, the receiver is bound. And also you can check the motor directions, if both motors, if you have a twin. Then we get to gluing. I use hot glue for the most parts. So the VTX, just the corners, the receiver, ESCs and the motor mounts you can just hot glue in. So in the end it will look something like this. At this point I like to put the stabilizers on, not before that, because otherwise it will be hard to just keep it on the table. The last thing we need to do is check where center of gravity is supposed to be, and since the LiPo is a heavy component you can then sort of figure out where to put it. So what I did is I just took the measurements from the LiPo and I added the Whoop frame brackets in here so they hold the battery like this. And after final check, that's pretty much it. So it's a pretty simple build. I used ESCs and ELRS and Voxnel, but you can essentially use whatever parts you have. As long as you keep it light, it should fly well. Alright, that's it. Thanks a lot. Bye.